Another year. I'm faced with the question of whether this year will have particular meaning. Will I achieve the growth that was so elusive last year? And how does this year fit into the story of my life? Well, how about you? Is this a year for new beginnings? A year to build upon successes of last year? Or have you lost hope in new beginnings? Are you too beaten down to have the expectation of success? Are you weary of the typical resolutions that have failed you in the past? Well, whether you need a huge infusion of hope or you are rearing to jump into this year of your life, I do trust that God has something good for you. God is someone who has not lost hope in you or for you. God is not frustrated by all of the failed resolutions or lack of resources. One way that people connect with God over the direction of their life is by having a word or phrase for the year. I have found this to be a great reminder that I have a bigger purpose than whatever issue is fighting for my attention at any given moment. So start with a prayer. Talk to God about last year, this year, what is going on in your life, and what God would like to have going on in your life. As you are talking to God or taking time to listen, is there a word or phrase that begins to resonate with you? Do you feel, think, and know that you have your word for the year? My phrase for last year was, "What does love require?" It was a great theme. I put it on the lock screen of my phone and was constantly reminded in every interaction that I can choose to do the loving thing. At times, I was tempted to remove it out of embarrassment so that people wouldn't think it was a strange thing to have on my lock screen. But I left it. I figured it's best to let everyone know what I'm about. This year's word requires a bit of explaining. It's ruthless. No, the word really is ruthless. Without explanation, perhaps you would think I've chosen to be cruel, hard-hearted, harsh, callous, remorseless, and cutthroat. Well, none of this is true. The word sums up a phrase from the book of Romans which admonishes to make no provision for the flesh. There are a couple of mysterious words in this phrase. First, the word provision. I take this to mean not feeding this thing by allowing time for it in my schedule, to fight against it having a place in my life, and to not give it a place in my heart and mind. The second peculiar word is flesh. I'll give you my very own non-theological view on this. Let's say you were to go through your day and you constantly checked in with God, asking what you should say to other people you encountered, what you should be looking at or watching, what you should do with your time, how you should spend your money, what you should eat, and even how you should exercise. Well, for some or most of these things, my response might be that I prefer to not live in this manner. Why? Because I want to do what I want to do. This is my flesh. Now, I hope you get exactly what I mean when I say that my word for the year is ruthless and the target is my flesh. In a ruthless way, I will do what Paul said when he wrote Romans, make no provision for the flesh. I now have a new lock screen pick, which is much tougher and cooler than what does love require. But the two are connected because my love for God requires that I make no provision for my selfish desire to do what I want to do. What do you think about having a word for the year? Please let me know in the comments. Do you have or have you had a word for the year? Well, let me know all about it, how you got your word, and how that worked for you. That's all for now, fellow travelers, and please remember that truth to be understood must be lived.